Hello everyone, welcome back to SportsKhabri. Hari, and Arnav is going to be joining us in a short while. So arunfoot as well. So yeah, I mean we've got the gang back after a while, and what better time than to prepare for the playoffs and discuss probably the most exciting part of the ISL season, which is when it becomes a cup competition from a league competition, and then suddenly you've got teams fighting for their lives. So, Hiren, excited for this next phase before we start talking about the agenda, which is Odisha and Blasters. Are you excited for this cup phase? And just generally, what do you think about it? Because there are a lot of people who say ISL should just be a league. There are some people who say there's an element of like that fun part comes in because we have this stage. What do you think? Do you like it with just a league or do you like this phase as well?
आई थिंक एट द मोमेंट अगर आप देखेंगे तो मतलब आई एम रियली एक्साइटेड फॉर दिस आईएसएल प्लेऑफ्स। आई अंडरस्टैंड काफी सारे लोगों का ये ओपिनियन मैं भी देख रहा था कि भाई वो चाहते कि अभी सिर्फ शील्ड ही रखना चाहिए, कप का कोई मतलब नहीं है। बट ऐसा नहीं होता कि आपको कोई क्या बोलते कि कॉन्टिनेंटल लेवल पे कोई स्पोर्ट नहीं मिलता तो इसका कोई इंपॉर्टेंस नहीं है। ट्रॉफी एंड प्राइज मनी भी क्लब के लिए तो इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है एंड वो आई थिंक काउंट होती है। तो आई थिंक एक्साइटमेंट ऐड करने के लिए मेरे हिसाब से तो एट द मोमेंट मतलब आप नेक्स्ट कपल ऑफ सीजन के लिए आप इसको कंटिन्यू कर सकते हो। बाकी बाद में आई थिंक फिर आप सोच सकते हो कि भाई जब प्रॉपर एक आपका लीग स्ट्रक्चर में आप आ जाओ, रेलिगेशन एवरीथिंग सब सब कुछ स्टार्ट हो जाए, फिर आप सोच सकते हो कि ओनली सील्ड आप रखें। तब तक के लिए आई थिंक अभी आप देखिए कि आप लीग के मैचेस भी क्यों इंटरेस्टिंग थे, क्योंकि आपकी टॉप सिक्स की प्लेऑफ की रेस थी इसलिए। अदरवाइज तो ये जो मतलब चेन्नई एफसी और उसके मैचेस कोई इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं होने वाले थे। फिर तो सिर्फ जो टॉप टू में जो लड़ाई होने वाली थी वही थी इंटरेस्टिंग। बाकी जो आप बोल रहे थे कि 6 क्लब 7 क्लब यहाँ पे 6 पोजीशन की रेस में है, तो वो इंटरेस्टिंग क्यों था? क्योंकि ये प्ले थे इसलिए। ये प्ले ऑफ नहीं होते तो इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं रहता, तो फिर सिर्फ आपको क्या बोलते कि ऊपर के मैचेस ही देखना है। सो आई थिंक जब तक रेलिगेशन स्टार्ट नहीं होता मेरे को लगता है कि दिस प्ले ऑफ फॉर्मेट शुड बी कंटिन्यू। चाहे भले इससे कोई कॉन्टिनेंटल स्पोर्ट ना मिले आईएसएल कप विनर को, बट एक ट्रॉफी एंड एक पैसा जो भी मिलता है एंड एक जो एक्साइटमेंट, ये जो प्ले ऑफ का भी जैसे हम बात करें कि एक्साइटमेंट है कि हाँ भाई, और आपके पास ऐसा कोई प्रीमियम सुपर कप है, बट आई डोंट थिंक सो कि उसमें उतना ज्यादा कप कंपटीशन वाला उस लेवल का मेरे को फीलिंग आता है जितना अभी मतलब आई थिंक ये आईएसएल प्लेऑफ में आएगा। सो सेमीफाइनल होंगे 2 लेग एंड एक वो वाइब अलग है। सो आई थिंक एट द मोमेंट मेरे को लगता है कि इससे कंटिन्यू रखना चाहिए। आई डोंट सी एनी पॉइंट कि इसको डिसकंटिन्यू अभी तुरंत कर दे। धीरे धीरे आई थिंक कुछ साल बाद जैसे मैंने बोला कि कर सकते हैं, बट आई एम रियली एक्साइटेड फॉर दिस सीजन बिकॉज आई थिंक 4 क्लब जो है ओडिशा एफसी गोवा मोहन बगान मुंबई सिटी, they are looking very strong. Chennai NFC, Owen Coylan के अंदर looking great. Kerala Blaster is there also. So I think it will be interesting playoff.
Hi Naval, it's been a while. I was just asking Hiren before we start discussing Odisha and Blasters, what do you make of the ISL structure, which is having this playoffs part where you have another trophy to win potentially, and a lot of people have different opinions on it. Some people say just keep it as a full-fledged league, which you see in most parts of the world, but some people like it's nice that we have this added excitement. Otherwise, a lot of the teams have nothing to fight for. So, where do you stand on this whole ISL structure?
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Hiren. Good evening, Rahul, as
Good
well.
evening.
Good to see you guys after a while, and good that I'll be getting together again. See, I'll go back 10 years. I'll go back to what my thought process was in 2014 when the ISL started, and I was I was managing Mumbai City. At the time, I was not a fan of the playoffs. I'll be very honest about it because I said a league is a league, right? So what's this fuss about playoffs and whatever? Why is it needed? Now, if we look to 2024, and we are now 10 seasons of the ISL league stage have been now completed. If we did not have the playoffs, that all what we've been talking about over the last now 4 months, actually, that the top six race is so interesting, it would have been boring. We would have spoken in December about, oh, listen, there are 5 teams who can win it. In February, we would have said, oh, you know what, 4 teams can win it. And then we would have said in March, 3 teams can win it. And the rest of the league is there to make up numbers. So from that perspective, if you look at the 10th season of the ISL, about 10 days before the league finished, about 4th, 5th of April, 11 teams were in with a chance to either win the league or get into the top 6. And we have to understand that the Indian Super League model is not a copy of the model that we have in Europe. It is a copy of the IPL. It's a copy of what, maybe let's say the Premier League or the Bundesliga or La Liga are, and of course American sports. And I think in an Indian football context, this masala is needed, if I like it or not. I'm a purist. I think that Mohun Bagan are the real champions now of the Indian Super League. Last year, Mumbai City were the real champions of the Super League. It was not ATK Mohun Bagan, right? But this added thing of the playoffs, to me, is something where I feel that, if we look at last season, what is the most memorable event? It was BFC versus Blasters, right? Do people remember that Mohun Bagan won it? No, that moment, that Sunil Chhetri free kick most probably is the most memorable event.
Yeah.
If you talk about 2014, I will always remember that Mohammad Rafiq with his header won it for Atletico de Kolkata. Yeah. Or again, sad, but Mumbai City lost the opener against Atletico de Kolkata 3-0, and Fikru was the first ever scorer. But what happened in the rest of the league? Again, I know our games, but I wouldn't be able to tell you anything about the rest of the league. But I know the finals or special things that have happened in semi-finals, comebacks. The crazy one where Chennai was leading 3-0. The Blasters were leading 3-0. Chennai scored 3, and all those kind of crazy events which have happened. So therefore, for me, and India loves this tamasha masala stuff. I think the playoffs need to remain, even with the league growing in the coming years. I think it needs to remain because it's they will need to find a window. Because I think the example to me is Major League Soccer. The league is growing to 30 or more teams in the coming years, but they still have the end of season playoffs. So therefore, there are markets. Let's not try to copy Europe. Let's try and what works in India and what is working, let's say in America or Australia or other parts of the world.
I just have one question, Arnav. I think just a follow-up. I have no problem with the playoffs. I actually think, like you guys said, both of you said, that it makes everything more interesting. It makes it a lot more fun. Teams have something to fight for. The only thing that troubles me is you have two different trophies in the same competition. And that is, I don't know why, probably because it's never happened, that it seems a little odd. Or has it happened? Have you guys come across scenarios where things like this have happened, where you have a trophy for the league and then you have another cup competition within the same tournament? Because I didn't.
MLS.
Okay. Oh yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. The MLS.
A-League also has the same one.
Sorry?
A-League also has the same one.
Yeah. That's what I said. Yeah. Or again, look at NBA, NFL. Again, I mean, in the NFL, the Super Bowl is the biggest match, and that's a playoff final, right? I mean, and therefore, I always say, when it comes to an Indian context, in my opinion, at least, if you would ask me, we need to find an Indian way of doing things. I think that's the biggest challenge that Indian football has. We need to find our own way, which is good and right for Indian football, while following what happens around the world and try to take out the best practices, right? That is something. And this is something Mumbai City lost to Mohun Bagan the other day. But Mumbai City can still beat Mohun Bagan theoretically in a final and turn it around and say, listen, we won the playoffs, right? So therefore, there is this something, Owen Coyle could do the comeback of the century, they were 11th a few days ago. You might win the ISL, the playoffs. So therefore, there is a charm in it. And again, that's why I said 10 years ago, if you had asked me 10 years ago in April 2014, I would have said this playoff share of rubbish idea. I'll be honest. But I've learned with time, in an Indian football context, in an ISL context, playoffs work.
Yep. And do they give a League Shield trophy in the A-League and the MLS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They call it regular season. In America, they call it regular season across the sports. So there is something. And there is the US Open Cup or whatever, or Super Bowl, or baseball, they call it the World Series, whatever, there are different names for it.
सर ये बीच में ये न्यूज़ भी आया था ना कि बुंदेसलीगा भी ये प्लान कर रहा था कि ये इस तरह का लास्ट में प्लेऑफ करवा जाए.
They were thinking about it. I think it was 2-3 years ago when Bayern Munich was continuously
Yes.
winning the league. So they were thinking, hey, let's do something with the top six. And again, top six makes it interesting because it's about the European spots as well. But again, to sell it to German football fans is very, very difficult, right? And therefore, even look at the Champions League. Next season, the Champions League is turning out into more of a league than a knockout competition.
Competition.
Because at the end of the day, winning a league is more honest than winning, these cup kind of competitions. That's why the Champions League turned into a league cum knockout competition, right? And it's turning out to be more of a league in the future, right? So therefore, in a normal scenario, if you look at the Champions League, Rahul might not be wanting to talk about. Oh, sorry, Hiren, you also don't want to talk about Champions League. I know, I do.
नहीं मेरे को कोई इश्यू नहीं है अपना तो अभी पिछले 7-8 साल का वही है
most probably Man City are the best team in Europe, right? So they would most probably win a league format. But Real Madrid are the champions in knockout competitions. Arsenal with all their form. Again, 2 weeks ago they had form. Now they again, can be asked.
Yeah.
But Bayern Munich is having their worst season in over a decade. But in 2 matches, if they focus, again, they can overcome an Arsenal, right? Borussia Dortmund is terrible. They're in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Paris Saint-Germain, people have said, oh, you know what, it's collapsing. Mbappe is fighting his coach. Oh, yes. But still, he goes to Camp Nou and shows what Mbappe is about, right? So therefore, therefore I say this, the knockouts have its own charm.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. Ishan, I think agrees. We agree. I think the playoffs are a good thing. Like everybody's saying here, that it is a good thing for Indian football, and we're glad that it's there. Yeah, excuse me, and yeah, absolutely, a lot of fun. Even the Champions League, I think. Yeah, I know you just mentioned the Champions League becoming a bigger competition. I think they made it a league. I don't know what the reason is. We have these
Rahul, we had a discussion a few months ago when this whole European Super League was coming up, and I think European Super League is a direct outcome of that. That they said, listen, we will make the Champions League more of a league rather than even the Champions League per se is like the Indian Super Cup. You play 6 matches in the group stage and then you start knockouts. It's a bigger version of the Indian Super Cup, right? If I say that jokingly, but therefore, that's the thing where it needs to go. And I think the league is the most honest win in a season. Bayer Leverkusen could theoretically, to me, are the best team in Europe, even better than City, in my opinion. But if they lose to West Ham today, they will not win the Europa League, right? So therefore, that is something. Therefore, the league for me is more honest.
100%. Hospitalization saying Kerala versus Odisha. Yes, that is the agenda. I'm sorry we shifted away because this is very fascinating, because it's a really interesting scenario that we have in India, and it's nice to talk about it. But Hiren, Odisha versus Blasters. How does this one go? I know we spoke about this yesterday, but yeah, just to refresh everyone's memories, how do you think this one's going to
go? Interesting match. I think playing at the one of a kind single leg knockout is always a interesting match. At the moment, अगर आप सारी चीजें देखें तो Odisha playing at the Kalinga, I think last 10-12 matches they are unbeaten at the Kalinga. They have a full squad available. सामने अगर आप देखें Kerala Blaster has some serious concern about the Adrian Luna and Divanthakos availability. यहाँ पे आज कोच ने बोला है इवान वुकोनोविच ने कि भाई एड्रियन लूना खेलेगा बट 90 मिनट नहीं खेलेगा. दिवांतकोस का अभी तक क्लियर कट नहीं है. प्रवीर दास नहीं है. There are a couple of things going you can say not right for the Kerala Blaster at the moment in terms of the form wise and everything. But single leg match में I think anything can happen, and that is the beauty of it. 2 leg में आप बोल सकते हैं कि भाई चलो maybe better team win, but in a single leg match जैसे अभी हम बात कर रहे थे कि आप देखिए कि चाहे केरला ब्लास्टर की कितने भी इश्यू है, सामने कितना भी सर्जियो लोबेरा की टीम fully fit and everyone is in a really good form, but I think अगर आपने उस मैच में मोमेंट को उस तरह से कैप्चर नहीं किया, देन चाहे भले ही केरला ब्लास्टर का कैसा भी फॉर्म हो, अच्छा नहीं खेल रहे हो, यंगस्टर खेल रहे हो, व्हाटएवर द थिंग, they still can, you can say कि beat Odisha FC. So I am expecting a very interesting match, to be honest. I think definitely at the moment Odisha FC को मैं edge दूंगा 60-40 favor में. But I think Kerala Blaster head अगर यहाँ पे एड्रियन लूना या फिर दिवांता कोस खेलते हैं, then I think this match will be much more interesting. Otherwise, I think they will put up a very good fight, but I think definitely edge to the Odisha FC.
Yeah, Andava, do you think Adrian Luna starts this one for the Blasters? Because a lot of their sort of, I think, hopes are dependent on him.
I mean, for me, a player who's not played for months, who pre the injury was the most influential player of a team, to expect Adrian Luna to come tomorrow and then deliver the goods, I think is unfair on Adrian. As good as a player he is, but he's not played for a while. This team is, you don't really know where they stand, right? That's the other thing to me. And therefore, it could give them a lift if he plays. But does he start after so long? I don't know. For me, it's very, very tough to see Adrian Luna starting. I might be wrong. Again, it's up to the coach. It's potentially first a one-off. So therefore, for me, yeah, it could be possible that they start him, right? But the question is then, who all is fit amongst the foreigners? I think Daisuke Sakai starts for me. He's one of the most influential for them in the last few games. If Drincic is fit, Drincic starts. I don't know. Is Leskovic fit or not at the moment? I'm not
Yes,
100% sure.
he is
fit?
He's available. Yes.
So Leskovic is available. So that is another one if you want to shore up your defense. And then the question is, who are the others who are fit? I think Diamantakos is out, right? Hiren?
ये दिमांतकोस का जो उसने मतलब क्लियर कट नहीं बोला है, उसने बोला है कि we will see tomorrow. Most probably जो chances ऐसे है कि I think he will be out.
So that's that. And then again, Adrian Luna, it's a difficult one. Again, it's to me, I'd like to see him on one side, but on the other side is he really ready for this? The question is, Vukomanovic in the last few matches has always said, he's not ready. And he said it a little too often, I felt, in the last few matches. And therefore, after such a serious injury, to just throw him in there, in my opinion, makes it difficult. Makes it honestly difficult, but, let's see.
Yep. Hamza's asking about SAF Club Championship news. Any news, guys?
Nothing.
This is one of those stories. I've said this in the last few days. Whenever people have been asking me about this on my Q&As and all, I said, as long as SAF doesn't officially announce that on these and this dates this tournament is happening, let's not discuss it. Honestly, it's not been happening for 15 years. I think I first heard it in 2006. I think the first time that we will have a SAF Club Championships, and therefore that's one. And again, for me. That's something. And about Kerala Super League, I've not heard anything as well. And I think that the big talk about big investments, supposedly the investors were supposedly coming in. Those is also not happening. So let's see if the KSL becomes like what the Bengal League was in 2012 or 2013. We also never saw the day of light. So for me, again, Palash, you're talking about corporations. And for us, for most of the others, they're not even looking to look inwards. Bangladesh is doing it in the women's game. We've spoken about it. Bangladesh is doing a lot of things right in the women's game. The best Bangladeshi women's players, the best Nepali women players are now playing in the IWL, right? And they're key players to their teams, right? In the men's game, I don't see that.
And they are also utilizing every FIFA window. वो तो म्यांमार में अनरेस्ट के चलते वो मैच अभी रिसेंटली जो अप्रैल वाला फीफा विंडो में कैंसिल हो गया, अदरवाइज दैट मैच आल्सो हैपनिंग. एंड हमारे यहाँ पे एएफएफ बोल रहा है कि
नेपाल इनवाइटेड टू वेस्ट एशिया चैंपियनशिप, वेस्ट एशियन वुमेन्स चैंपियनशिप. So these things are happening. So I think India can take a leadership in the SAF region, but to me is India has to look at inwards itself with all the problems that the AFF is facing and having at the moment. I think that's the biggest challenge, that the AFF needs to sort itself out and realize where are we going. Because the biggest challenges which nobody wants to accept is that Indian club football at the moment has no sponsor. This has not happened over the last decade. This season has seen no sponsor come forward to sponsor ISL, I-League, IWL, I-League 2, I-League 3. Khatam. No one. If I like it or not. That's one of those realities that we have to accept. And the AFF is at the moment forced to try and keep the system running by cutting costs. Right? Not perfect for development, but I think Satya is trying to cut costs to ensure the system keeps running. So that's the thing.
Let's back into the match.
Yeah, back to the match. Sorry. So,
back to the game.
Yeah.
Hiren, I just wanted to ask you again. We know the issues with the Blasters, and we know how they're coming into this. Do they have the right mindset? I mean, do the rest of the players coming into this game have the confidence that is needed before you enter a knockout game? Because I think mindset and character plays a major role in these kind of games. Sometimes you don't have to play the best football. You just need to nick a goal somewhere here or there and give it your all, and you can end up victorious. You think they're in the right space going into this game?
I think that's a very important point, Rahul, you mentioned, because no doubt they are coming up with a lot of setbacks in the injury. They are maybe missing some of their key players. I think everything is right, but I think the mindset and the कल भी हमने बात की थी कि जिस तरह से इवान मुकोनोविच ने जिस तरह से अब देखिए चीजें ली है, जिस तरह से उन्होंने काफी सारी चीजें बोली है, और हम कल हमने ये भी डिस्कस किया था कि क्या ये केरला ब्लास्टर्स के लिए सक्सेसफुल सीजन है. तो अगर आप देखें तो उसने हमने जैसे बात की थी कि दुरान कप में आप कुछ नहीं कर पाए, सुपर कप में आप कुछ नहीं कर पाए, आप आईएसएल सील्ड में टॉप 2 में फिनिश नहीं कर पाए. जीतते भले ही नहीं थे, बट सेकंड पे फिनिश किया होता तो फिर भी बोल सकते थे कि हाँ भाई यू आर क्लोज, यू हैव फिनिश फिफ्थ. एंड अब अगर आप यहाँ पे भी लूज कर जाते हो, तो आई थिंक माइंडसेट वाइज मेरे को दैट इज द एक जो मेरे मन में डाउट है कि क्यों केरला ब्लास्टर को मैं थोड़ा सा नीचे आंक रहा हूँ कंपेयर टू ओडिशा एफसी, कि एक माइंडसेट की मेरे को अभी कमी लगती है. एड्रियन लूना एंड दिमांता कोस जैसे प्लेयर, आई थिंक नॉट ओनली एज अ लीडरशिप वाइज, बट एक वो आप देखिए जिस तरह से टीम को साथ में लेके चलते हैं, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एट द मोमेंट. मेरे को बाकी उस क्या बोलते हैं केरला ब्लास्टर की जो भी यंगस्टर है या फिर बाकी भी जो मिलोस रिंसिक लेस्कोविच वो सब है, बट वो क्वालिटी मेरे को नहीं दिखती जो आई थिंक एड्रियन लूना एंड दिमांता कोस लेके आते. एड्रियन लूना नहीं था तब भी, जब दिमांता कोस होता है तो आप देखिए कि टीम को यहाँ पे पुल अप करने की कोशिश करता है. And I think that is very important in this kind of match. So I think I completely agree with you कि ये एक ऐसा चीज है कि जिससे आप मैच निकाल भी सकते हो. अगर ये आपके पास नहीं है तो आप यहाँ पे आप चाहे कितना भी अच्छा खेल रहे हैं, आप यहाँ पे इस तरह के मैचेस हार सकते हो. सो वही टेस्ट होगा आई थिंक कल जो केरला ब्लास्टर्स के यंगस्टर खेलेंगे, जो भी स्टार्टिंग 11 में होगा, दैट विल बी द बिगेस्ट टास्क फॉर देम. एंड एक दूसरा यहाँ पे है कि हमने देखा है कि दे वर नॉट एज कंफर्टेबल एज दे प्ले इन द कोची. So that is also one of the things they need to now you can say कि आप सिर्फ यहाँ पे क्या बोलते कि वो टीम बन के नहीं रह सकते कि हर सीजन. लास्ट सीजन भी यही सेम चीज थी. They were good in home but they were really poor in away. So you need to you can say कि break those stigmas. Simple as that. You need to show character in the away match and you have to win this kind of matches. So definitely it will be a tough challenge, but if they pull out then I think it will be a huge confidence for them.
Yep. Kumar's asking, players who got injured will surely, and surgery of course will not directly start in a match. We spoke about Luna, and even if he comes on for a few minutes, maybe there's some impact he can make. Or do you see him starting and being taken off a little earlier? No.
The question is, how does Vukovanovic approach the match? Kumar has a point that normally, you would say, okay, you play 5 minutes, you play 10 minutes, maybe you play 15, 20 minutes. The reality is, this is an all or nothing game. If you lose this match, season is over. If you win it, you might have some more matches. Vukovanovic this season has had a roller coaster ride. And just putting Adrian Luna into the starting 11 would give the team a boost. From a from a mental side of things.
Yeah, moral perspective.
Is he ready for it? I wouldn't think so. Again, I have not seen him train, so I can't, this is very, we were very difficult judgment. But maybe that is something that Vukovanovic will play on, and maybe this is also a mind game sort of thing in regard to Lobera. What does Vukovanovic do against Sergio Lobera? Because Sergio Lobera has options. Is he going to start with Diego Mauricio? Is he going to start with Roy Krishna? Murtada Fall? Is he going to start Ahmed Jahu? He's got Delgado in there as well as a mix. So he's got 5 foreigners to choose from, right? So therefore, it's a mind game amongst the coaches. Odisha certainly for me are ahead, but the Blasters need something special tomorrow, or a little bit of luck in some sort of way, for things to go there. Because and I go back, a good example is Arsenal against Bayern Munich. And Rahul, you and I had spoken about this. And to remember, I directly said, listen, Bayern is going to beat Arsenal. Right? Even friends of mine joked about it. I said, Bayern is going to beat Arsenal. They've got that mentality thing. So tomorrow is also about mentality. It's not what happened in the last 6 months. Nobody cares. 90, 120, even a penalty shootout could decide it. Right? So therefore, it starts at 0. This is the charm of the playoffs. One match, 90, 120 or penalty shootout. It starts at 0-0. What I love to say, it's a 50-50 chance, right? Last few weeks, last few months, Odisha's head. But if Ivan Vukomanovic can get something out of his players, then we'll see. Because I go back to last year, Blasters in Bangalore. Right? To me, Blasters, let's not talk about that cynicism, but Blasters looked to me the better side in that game. The longer it lasted, right? So therefore, these are all, again, we can talk about a lot of things, So therefore, let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think it's a mentality thing. I don't think BFC were even close to. I don't even think they were on the same level as Blasters, let alone Mumbai City. But they got through both those games. I think it is a mentality thing, and it is in these sort of knockout.
It's also a little bit of luck, no? I say football is sometimes a game of small margins, right?
Yeah.
Again, BFC. Mumbai City, the one or the other chance Mumbai City puts in, Mumbai City, in Bangalore could have won by a bigger margin. Yeah. Mohun Bagan, Mumbai City the other night. If Changte scores the equalizer in the 44th minute, Mumbai City win that game, hands down in the second half. But didn't happen. So therefore, tomorrow is Odisha could play great football for 90 minutes. But if Blasters score 1 goal, it could go the other way, and that is that's what I'm saying. That is the craziness and the charm. That's why we're talking about this.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do you guys think will start? Hiren, Jixon or Danish Farouk?
I think दोनों का फॉर्म मेरे को तो मतलब जिक्सन तो अभी आफ्टर द इंजरी उतना ज्यादा साफ दिखाई नहीं. दानिश भी मतलब स्टार्टिंग उसने अच्छा किया था इस सीजन का. फर्स्ट हाफ में ही वाज रियली ब्रिलियंट, बट सेकंड हाफ में द फॉर्म हैज बीन deep. So I think Vibin मेरे को लगता है कि स्टार्ट करेगा. Vibin Daisuke are short in midfield. Now interesting decision is regarding the Adrian Luna. मोहम्मद एमान और अजहर में से कोई एक स्टार्ट कर सकता है मे बी, एंड आई थिंक जिक्सन एंड आई थिंक मे बी दानिश में से कोई एक स्टार्ट करेगा. आई थिंक मे बी जिक्सन विल स्टार्ट इन दिस मैच. मेरे को ये लग रहा है. लेट्स सी.
And just quickly taking this as well, guys. It's extra time and penalties, or does it?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is what it is.
Ishan asked an interesting question. Saurav is a player. Saurav Mandal in the last few games has played himself as a winger potentially into the team. Yeah, he's the point.
I would start him ahead of Ishan Pandit, to be honest.
It depends on who's your central striker, no? If you don't have Diamantakos, who's your alternative, no?
Yeah. It all
Ishan
depends on
wasn't
them.
Ishan wasn't good against Hyderabad, but one has and I wish Ishan all the best and that he's able to score because we need him for India as well. But you see that Ishan has the problem now is he's not had enough minutes in the last 3 years. That was clearly evident. You know, he was trying, creating chances, this, that, everything. But that finishing which we saw from him at the start when he was coming in, when he was scoring for Goa, those super sub goals. That is needed, and that's the difficulty the Blasters have because the Blasters need someone to score goals for them. You know, so sort of to me could be a winger option because all the others we're talking about, Ayman, Azhar, and Nihal, even Rahul KP, all of them have not been. You know, I mean, Ayman most probably has, but Ayman can play even more of a central position. So therefore, the Blasters have a lot to call. You know, who do you play as right back and left back? Right? Naucha is missing.
I think Sandeep and Pritam Kotal will be the fullbacks.
And
because Prabir is also not available.
Who's goalkeeper? Lara Sharma.
Lara Sharma. I think Lara Sharma will
start. I'm asking the question. It's an interesting one, right? Because Lara has the problem of both goalkeepers is they haven't played that much. As long as Sachin Suresh was fit, or even before that, you know, Prabsukan was there, or you know, Lara at BFC, I don't know.
वहाँ पे भी नहीं खेला है वो कहाँ पे गया?
Didn't, right, Rahul?
He played a few games, a couple of games, I think, 1 or 2.
Last season कहाँ पे? ISL में तो मैंने नहीं देखा.
1 or 2 games. ISL में I'm not sure, but he has played a couple of games.
I think Durant Cup,
maybe Durant Cup में खेला होगा.
Even in the ISL, he has played 1 or 2. If I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Because I remember he was okay. He was, yeah. And
so that's the question for the coach. It's an interesting one. Do you go for someone who you played last game, or do you go for the experienced goalkeeper who was actually playing okay but then had a bad game? So that's I mean, Ivan Vukovanovic has a lot of areas of, you know, to decide what team do I send out. I think that's the biggest advantage that Lobera has over him. That Lobera overall has a settled squad.
And I think sir इस तरह के मैचेस में
Hiren, I was quicker with the settled.
नहीं मैं वही बोल रहा था कि इस तरह के मैचेस में आई थिंक वो की क्या बोलती कि ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होता है कि यू नीड ए सेटल स्कोर. चाहे आप भले ही फुटबॉल थोड़ा सा मतलब आपके प्लेयर होना कर पाए, बट आई थिंक वो एक क्लियरिटी रहता है प्लेयर का, और एक वो थोड़ा सा रहता है कि भाई व्हाट वी नीड टू डू. एंड आई थिंक जब आपके पास ऐसी स्क्वाड है कि आपको मतलब पता ही नहीं, आई थिंक मेरे को लगता है कि मिडफील्ड पे टोटली डिपेंड रहेगा कि क्या दिवान तक से एड्रियन लूना स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं कि नहीं कर रहे, उसके बेसिस पे सिलेक्ट होगा. आपके विंगर्स भी उसके बेसिस पे सिलेक्ट होगा. ऐसा नहीं है कि आप यहाँ पे क्लियरिटी उस जगह पे भी रख पा रहे हो. आई थिंक अगर एड्रियन लूना स्टार्ट करेगा, दिवान तक को स्टार्ट करेगा, तो मैं भी जैसे बोला कि फिर ईशान पंडित की जगह नहीं बनेगी, देन आपके बाकी इक्वेशन भी चेंज हो गए. तो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ अनसर्टेनिटी रिगार्डिंग दिस कि भाई किस तरह से आपका कॉम्बिनेशन बैठेगा. सो डेफिनेटली उस सेंस में आई थिंक ओडिशा एफसी हैज अ ह्यूज एडवांटेज. They have a very settled squad and their players are also informed. ऐसा नहीं है कि no doubt last match नॉर्थ ईस्ट यूनाइटेड के सामने 3-0 से वो हारे हैं, but I think रोहित कृष्णा, डियोगो मोरिशो, एमी रानावाडे, everyone is looking solid and अहमद जाऊ ऊपर से आपके पास सही है.
Hiren and Rahul, one question to you guys. If we look back at the Super Cup final,
yes, Odisha versus East Bengal.
Lobera took a very wait and watch approach, unlike the way his team normally
plays. Again,
do you think that he will not do that mistake again and tomorrow go all out and try and play a convincing game against the Blasters?
I think मेरे को लगता है कि he will go for taking football, at least I'm seeing in the first half. I think he will go for that. मेरे को ये लगता है कि he will try to score that 1 or 2 goal to get, you can say कि Kerala Blaster in a real you can say under pressure. After that I think they can manage the game very well in the second half. So मेरे को ये लगता है कि
Rahul,
Yeah, Rahul.
No, I agree with Hiren because I think Sergio Lobera, as smart as he is, I think he's also got a bit of like courage in him, and
Is
he's one of those kind of
but
coaches.
is he? But I sometimes feel he's a little bit of a Pep Guardiola, right? Where he overdoes it
Hmm.
or makes it a little too complicated.
Ah,
Correct. Exactly.
ah.
That's the problem. But I feel like it will be attacking even if there is some overcomplication. So I don't know. That's the vibe I get from him and Manolo Marquez. So yeah, I think he will go for it.
Uh, Ishan asking, who will be your four foreigners for Odisha? Good question. Because
Good
you
question.
have five to choose from. Five to
Would
choose
you
from.
guys be
Do you
Would
play?
you guys be
सिवाय
tempted
गॉड
to start
सिवाय
both
गोडाट
Roy?
भी है बट उसको तो कंसिडर नहीं करेंगे हाँ ऑब्वियसली
Sorry, so, but I'm saying from the five, if I look at Carlos Delgado, Murtada Fall, Ahmed Jahu in midfield, and my two, Roy Krishna and Diego Mauricio, do you risk it and say, listen, I play an Indian centre back with either Murtada Fall or Carlos Delgado? Or do you say, listen, I play Carlos Delgado, Murtada Fall, Ahmed Jahu starts, and then I have to do a toss, so to say, between Diego Mauricio and Roy Krishna?
I will go with one Indian centre back. I will go with Diego Mauricio and Roy Krishna in first half.
Same. I agree. I would go with both Roy and
Who
Diego.
would be your Indian centre back?
Because इंडियन सेंटर बैक में आई थिंक नरेंद्र गहलोत ही है ऑप्शन तो और कौन है
Yeah.
Toiba
एक
is
चीज सर
playing.
मैंने देखी
Toiba.
नहीं थोइबा थोइबा है वो खेल सकता है एक चीज मैंने देखी है कि आईएसएल में एएफसी कप में अलग बात है बट आईएसएल में जब भी वो यहाँ पे दो फॉरेन सेंटर बैक के साथ भी गया है तो उतना आप नहीं बोल सकते कि सॉलिडारिटी में डिफेंसिवली उन्होंने सॉलिड परफॉर्मेंस दिया बट जब वो डिएगो मॉरिस रोहित कृष्णा के साथ गया है दे ऑलवेज स्कोर मोर गोल्स सो आई थिंक यहाँ पे अगर आपने फर्स्ट हाफ में मार दिए वो गोल एक दो गोल देन टोटली आपके गेम आपके कंट्रोल में आ जाएगा देन इट विल बी वेरी डिफिकल्ट फॉर केरला ब्लास्टर्स टू मेक अ कमबैक सो मेरे को लगता है कि फर्स्ट हाफ में तो I think Diego Mauricio and Rohit Krishna
But
will be a very
but
good pair.
Sanskar says Diego will play Roy out because Roy is out of form. I don't feel Roy is out of form.
He is
Do you think so?
I haven't watched.
I don't think so.
I
I think वो
have
penalty
been
उसने miss किया maybe.
but I've been impressed with Roy Krishna this season, to be very honest.
Krishna,
Yeah, I agree.
Especially
I agree.
after that BFC season, I thought he's back to his old 80k Mohun days.
Yeah, absolutely.
Days.
Most BFC fans also were saying the same thing, which is, look at him, he's gone and he's done well. So yeah. I think Roy Krishna and Diego Mauricio, there's something
And
that
he is a मेरे को नहीं राहुल मेरे को वो फीलिंग आती है कि he is a big match player also. वो चाहे भले ही उसका फॉर्म कैसा हो या फिर वो बड़े मैच में वो मारता है गोल वो हमने देखा है. So I think he's
So
exactly.
does it then mean you'll play Roy Krishna, you'll play Diego Mauricio, and you'll play Isaac Ralte then? Up front?
Isaac.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Roy Krishna on the right. I think it's
Ahmed Jahu,
Princeton,
Kutia?
Princeton,
yeah.
and Princeton.
Right back to Amay Ranawade, no doubt.
Amay Ranawade, yeah. Yes.
And left?
Left में जेरी या बिगेस जेरी के क्रॉसेस कुछ क्रॉसेस बेहतरीन होते हैं. Those are very good crosses.
I think this is the only place that they have like contention that you can actually really pick. I don't know.
I mean, Sanskar's explanation is okay. Yeah, but again, to compare Roy Krishna with Diego Mauricio to me is a little unfair. I think on Roy Krishna.
Unfair.
Because Mauricio is an out and out number 9, and Roy Krishna he can potentially drop back, play as a 10, and he's been, of course, at Odisha been playing mainly as a winger. So he's impressed me on that position. So therefore, for me, Roy Krishna is someone where I'd say, but yeah, it's an interesting one. It'll be interesting to see with both the teams tomorrow. What is the intent? Do you want to win, or do you want to take a wait and watch approach?
What if मैं आप दोनों से पूछना चाहूँगा कि क्या लगता है कि what if game goes into the extra time, then we will have a upper hand.
I still think Odisha. I don't see them losing this game at all.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, and of course, Ishan mentioning Aniket Jadhav and others The bench will be interesting to see who it is, right? I mean, the other Jerry M, of course, who's been a key player for Odisha, right? The season has been sort of
Yes.
off. What are your striking options? Also very difficult to say.
वो भी है ना, प्रांजल भी है ना उनके पास स्ट्राइकर में.
Pranjal, yeah, but Pranjal is again, and on the other side, Odisha has, Blasters has a lot of these youngsters where I think they need to develop more. You know, we're talking about Azhar, Ayman, Nihal. You know, these guys. So it's a difficult one.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, I think. But I like Jerry, what he brings into that midfield. If he does get a chance, I think he's a different kind of player, and he gets a little more forward. If they ever need that in extra time, I think he's the guy you want to sort of
That
get on
makes
board
difference.
and try to create chances. And, yeah, hopefully make a difference. But yeah, I would be really surprised if Odisha don't go for it tomorrow because they have no reason to not. I don't think the Blasters are in. They don't. I don't think a lot of Blasters fans know what is going to come from their side tomorrow, and that's not the best place to be. But Odisha, I think there's a certain level of expectation you have from guys like Emma Jau. You're going to get XYZ from him, so I think that way they're sorted. Yeah, Hiren, but what's the threat that the Blasters need to be aware of? Do you see them sitting back completely and playing on the counter?
I think अगर completely sit back करेंगे तो I think definitely they will concede because I think Diego Mauricio के पास जो capabilities है, हमने उनके goals भी अभी recently देखे हैं कि जो उस outside box से भी जो उनके पास abilities है, they can hurt you with those kind of, you can say, chances. So rather than completely going, I would say you have to play a little bit, you can say, mid block where you have also, and आपके पास midfield में है option. I think so you need to utilize that more. I would say. So I don't see कि completely आप डिफेंस, क्योंकि ऐसा तो है नहीं कि आपके पास सॉलिड बैक लाइन है. आपके पास नाउचा भी नहीं है, तो संदीप सिंह वहां पे खेलने वाला है. यो वहां पे भी एक इंटरेस्टिंग डिसीजन ये बनेगा कि अगर दिमांतकोस तो मैं एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर रहा हूँ. सो आई थिंक द्रिंसिक एंड लेस्कोविच स्टार्ट करेंगे, बट उन्होंने भी अभी रिसेंटली दोनों का फॉर्म आप बोल सकते हैं कि उस लेवल पे है, पर्टिकुलरली लेस्कोविच का. सो आई थिंक रोहित कृष्णा, इजाक, इनके पास भी आप देखिए कि काफी अच्छा पेस है. सो आई डोंट थिंक सो कि completely sit back would be a wise option. I think you have to also take a little bit risk to create those chances because अगर आप वन लेंथ की लीड ले लेते हो, आपके पास अगर गोल आ जाता है, then I think Odisha will be काफी ज्यादा प्रेशर में आ जाएगा. You are playing at the home against your, you can say, कि home crowd. So I think that makes an interesting scenario.
I think Sanskar has been watching the Champions League games for the last 2 weeks. He's expecting a 3-2 here, there, everywhere kind of game. And I know you're expecting that. Is this game going to be full of goals for you, or do you think it's going to be just one or two here and there, and it's a tight, cagey affair?
If we go back into the last few years, we've seen a lot of these matches been sort of cagey affairs and one goal here, one goal there, deciding games. Because I think the teams, it's not like this Champions League round of the last 2 weeks has been insane. Let's be honest, not even last 2 weeks, last 8 days, right? Has been insane. The most number of goals ever scored in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. The ISL playoffs have often been sort of cagey affairs where one goal, like as I said, one goal, extra time, or this and that, and especially the one-off games. So therefore, let's wait and see.
Okay, interesting. Ishan Singh hitting Odisha FC on the counter would not be wise because they've got quick fullbacks. Fair enough, but I think the Blasters have a couple of weapons of their own. I think I don't think Ayman is really scared of any fullback. I think he's one of those guys who's got neat footwork and he should do well against most fullbacks.
But the danger is with Amay and with Jerry is, especially with Amay often ventures up to the to the goal line of the other team, right? So therefore the question is, can the Blasters exploit that, on their left wing in some sort of form or way? Does Ahmed Jahu have a match where he doesn't make any sort of critical mistakes? That's always a danger with them. And and how do you play this game, right? Therefore, again, it's Odisha, to me, clearly favorites in this, no doubt about
Yeah.
that. But I think we should not count the Blasters out. So therefore,
Fair.
it's a one-off. It's a one-off, and it's like a cup match. It is like a classic
It
cup
is,
match.
yeah.
It's a one-off game. Therefore, anything is possible.
Yep. That being said, Hiren, your scoreline and prediction for the game.
I'm going with the 2-1 victory for Odisha.
Okay. That
Match
narrow
will be
win.
finished in 90 minutes, no extra time.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And Hiren's gone with a narrow margin. Anava?
I also think Odisha is going to win. Yeah, 2-0 or a 3-1, I would say. I think.
Yeah,
I think we'll see goals. But yeah, I think 2-0 most probably in some sort of way.
Yeah, I think I agree in the sense that even I feel like there'll be a 2-goal margin. I don't know why. Probably because of the way the Blasters are coming into this game and so much uncertainty around it. But yeah, probably the same. I think 2-0 should be fine for Odisha. I think they should comfortably get through in the end. Sankar saying I want a KBFC versus Mohun Bagan semi-final. I hope. I mean, it doesn't look like it's going to happen, but yeah, you never know. Adrian Luna comes on, suddenly turns it on, and scores a couple of worldies from outside the box.
But on the other side, Odisha and Mohun Bagan have unfinished business from the AFC Cup. So
yeah. So it's going to be either way. You're going to get a good semi-final. So Sanskar, so no worries about it. But yeah, guys, we'll be there tomorrow, of course, to discuss the game. Post-match review. That should be fun. We'll see how it goes and how it unravels. Thanks everyone for joining today. It's been a while, so it's nice that we're back doing this. Please subscribe to all the channels: SportsKhabri, Curious Harry, and Arun Foot. See you tomorrow. Good night, guys.
good night, everyone.